So this is the third week of Inktober, and I have passed the halfway point. This is the point where I'm starting to get kind of tired and sore and a little burned out, and trying not to be sleep deprived, but it's hard. So yeah, I can see the end, and I'm starting to see that this is coming together as a drawing. So this week was challenging, but kind of exciting. Okay, I'm calling this done for now. I was hoping to finish the gear shift there, but my head hurts. I'm tired. I have like this annoying headache that just won't go away. So I think that is my body saying, hey, go to bed. So that's what I'm gonna do. Alright, that was fun. So this is actually based off of like a real guidebook. It's a roadside geology of Yellowstone, I believe it's called, that Bill and I actually bought at a gift shop in Yellowstone, I think. And it was a really cool book. I mean, it talks about like every single random geological formation you'll see all over the place. And when you drive around Yellowstone, they're just like on the side of the road. And then there's, of course, like the big main ones you know about, but it's pretty cool. So that's my guidebook. That was fun to draw. Nothing too complicated there. Not compared to some of the other things I've had to draw. Not on this particular challenge. I finished the gear shift there. And yeah. It'll be nice to be done with this corner. My back is starting to hurt from working on that particular area a lot, so I'll be in a different area tomorrow, and that'll be a good break. Okay, so today's is grungy. So I'm gonna draw a selfie that I took with my dog on our road trip this summer. And, you know, can't decide which one of us is more grungy after being on the road for several days, kind of a thing. But, dude, this is a hard one. So, like, this is the picture, right? And so I'm kind of making a goofy face. The dog is kind of making a goofy face. We are in mirror image. And it's going to be just like really small. Like, this is my pencil next to the picture. So getting these facial expressions right without it just looking like a total cartoon might be a challenge. So yeah. This one, I've spent like an hour drawing just this little thing right here, and just going over it like 35 times and being frustrated. So, yeah. So this is a great example of why they do things like contouring in makeup. Because when my face doesn't have any shading on it, it just looks like very weird. It looks like, you know, I'm like devoid of expression or something. So I'm going to go in and add the shading now, and hopefully adding the shading will make this look a lot more normal. I'm still thinking that I might go in and put some little teeny white dot highlights on the eyes. I tried to leave them, but it wasn't happening. Yeah, so I might go in and fix that. And I might even go in and put some on the teeth. I don't know, we'll see. Alright, so I'm having one of those days where I'm just like so involved in this that I just like didn't even get up and move for like 2 hours, and didn't realize it had been 2 hours till everything was sore and my hand was cramping and my back was cramping, and so I just got up and walked on the treadmill for a bit. And I do see one area that I feel like I need to fix, which is annoying. So on this side of my face, I got a little overzealous with the shading, and the sun's supposed to be coming from over there, so I'm gonna have to fix that. It's driving me nuts looking at it. So my goal is to just take that teeny tiny paintbrush, a little bit of paint, and just try and like paint out just a couple of the hash marks. Like, I'm not trying to go crazy here because I hate drawing back over that paint. It's always weird. So yeah, I'm gonna try that. It's the only thing that's bothering me. I am also going to try and do some of the shading on this visor, but I don't know if I'm going to have the energy, so we're going to see. Okay, I feel like that made all the difference. It looks way better. Yeah, I think I look grungy. I think the dog looks grungy. I don't have time to do the visor tonight, so that's going to be another night. Yeah. But that was fun. So I am working on a totally awesome migraine right now. I felt like all of my art lights were stabbing into my head and my eyes just really don't want to focus on any details at all. Luckily this one wasn't too complicated, and I did a little bit of the door, but I just got to be done. This is going to be an early night. So this is my journal, and this is actually like a little like art journal that I keep in real life. I like to kind of, it's like a 4x6. It's the perfect size to kind of take around with you places. And I started using it during Plain Air Prol, and then I brought it with us on our road trip this summer, and that was fun. So it's fun getting to draw this, and it has this cool like tie that wraps around itself that you can stick the pen in, so it's kind of neato that way. So hopefully tomorrow I will feel better and be able to get more done. Well, of course I had to mess with it more. There were a couple things in there that were just like bothering me when I looked at them, so I changed those, and I have a feeling that in a couple days when I've done all the things around this, I'll probably go messing with it some more. The prompt for today is drive. So what I'm gonna do is try to work on this whole section. I might be crazy. Yeah, so I'm gonna try and get as much of that done as I can basically today. And a lot of it is black, so it seems theoretically like I should be able to, but you never know. So yeah, I'm just gonna try and power through that and see how much I can accomplish. Okay, so doing this whole area took a long time. All these little teeny tiny details. And there's just a lot of shading on this whole thing and shaping, and there's just a lot of stuff going on in there. So it took a long time. I mean, I really didn't waste any time either, but yeah. I think it looks good. I'm just, thinking about the fact that I still gotta do this at some point. Ooh, it's gonna take just as long, maybe longer. So, yeah, but I think that's good. I think that'll show what I'm trying to show. So, okay, so today's prompt is ridge. So I'm gonna finish this superstition ridge line up here. There's not a lot to that. So I'm also gonna finish up this, which is mostly just shading in the shadows and doing a few other little things in here. And then I'm going to tackle the radio. So tonight I spent a long time drawing all this in, and there's just, there's a lot there, isn't there? So yeah, I anticipate that this is gonna take the bulk of my night. I would love to also do some of this up here, but I don't think I'm gonna have time. So that's not nearly as complicated. It's more like I just have to do it. But if I can get these things done, then I will largely have most of the left side done. So we'll see how far I get tonight. right, well, my ridge line is looking pretty good. So there's the superstition ridge line. And then these are, this is Pass Mountain, which is the big main mountain at Usury Mountain that has the big scar in it. That was fun to draw. I had a fun time doing that. I used the graphic number 2 for the big black parts. And then for pretty much everything else, I just went ahead and used the size 005. So yeah, pretty cool. So that was interesting. So the prompt for today was Uncharted. And I only could find like one map anywhere on the internet that like had anything for Uncharted that was like some kind of symbol or anything. And in this particular map, all the Uncharted areas, it was from like the 1880s, were all done in this like striping. So that's what I decided to do. And then it gave me a good place to put my signature. So I had an interesting time with this. If you look closely, let's see if I can get that to focus. So I wanted this to be chaotic. I just really wanted it to be like really chaotic for whatever reason. I was just feeling it. Part of it is I feel like if an area is uncharted, it must be just scary. So I wanted to kind of like give it this feeling. And also like when I was doing all the topographic lines, I kind of loosely based it off of what was really on the map. And then I kind of went in there and just like did a crazy line drawing just for fun. And then when I was shading it, I kind of scribbled in there. And I don't know why I felt like that was like the right thing to do, but it just was like what was speaking to me, because these areas in the map are just areas that are like colored in different ways. Like they kind of shaded it. So I kind of felt like if I went in there and actually did lines for the shading, that it was going to really kind of like interfere with the lines and the words that I had already put in there. So I kind of just did that thing where I just kind of scribble like lightly across the texture of the page and try to get the texture to pick up the ink more than anything. So yeah, it's interesting because I feel like from far away, it looks how I want it to look, but up close, it's a little chaotic. I can't decide how I feel about that, to be honest. I kind of feel like it fits the mood of this. I also kind of like, I don't know, I don't want the details here to be a thing that draws attention, because it's really not the focus of things. I just kind of want it to be something that you look at and you go like, ah. Which I think is what happens, and so your eye just moves on. But honestly, if you've ever tried to haiku superstitions, it's kind of like that. Like, there's a lot of, like, rocks happening. You get lost really easily. Everything kind of looks different around every single corner. It's volcanic, and it feels that way. So yeah, that's what this map is, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. This is in the superstitions. There are not really any uncharted areas there, so I'm just kind of playing when I added that.